Hey Research Triangle Raptors, Mr. Lassiter here with you, and today we're going to look at homework and PLT. What do we do and when do we do it? A few video goals for you. This video aims to answer these questions. What does homework look like at RTHS? What is PLT and what is expected during this time? And lastly, how can you make the most of your time in seminar, at home, and during PLT? We have a couple vocab words for real this time. So let's get started with homework. Of course, homework is the work that is done outside of your classroom that is meant to enhance what you are doing here at school. Here at RTHS, we basically have 20 minutes per class per night on average. Now, that doesn't mean that it's only going to be 20 minutes a night, but just on average, that's what we shoot for over a week. And that is per class. So that means that you do have a heavier homework load than maybe your peers at other schools. You're looking, if you have 6 classes, that's 2 hours of homework a night at least. The homework is meant to be done outside of class, and that is important. It's done at seminar, it's done at home, but this is on your own time. It is an expectation that you complete homework here at RTHS. It is part of being prepared for class each and every day, and that's why some of your teachers issue demerits for being unprepared for class if you have not done this work. It is vital to the flipped model of learning. In most schools, what you do for homework here, watching videos or doing the prep work, that's done in class, and that takes away time from things we could be doing like reading historical documents, or probably the more fun stuff of doing science labs. And by taking that stuff out of the classroom and doing it outside and at home, it allows us to teach you more than most people would learn in a year, and for us to do more of the hands-on stuff that you would expect out of a STEM school. So your job in this, to do this outside homework, is very important for you to be able to participate at school and do a good job. So what is homework for and what is it not for? Well, the time that you work on homework is for doing things like studying or completing assignments that we didn't have time for in class, practicing problems in mathematics, possibly just simply reading, and the one that you're probably most familiar with by now, video watching and note-taking. That is what homework is for. It is not a time for taking assessments. We don't approve those outside of the classroom. And it certainly should not be a time that you stress out over being confused. You can email a teacher or ask questions in class if you need stuff clarified. So don't stress out about that. Certainly if you budget your time well, hopefully you will not stress about the amount of homework that you have. Now, homework is one aspect of this video, but the other one is to look at PLT, and that simply means personalized learning time. PLT is time spent in class, and if we break it down, it is personal, it is individual, it is based on your needs and what you need to complete, and it is very intentional. So based on what you need to do, you are intentionally trying to complete a task. It's not just random. It's all about learning, and learning is an active process, and here at RTHS we learn by doing. So PLT is a time where you're engaging, hopefully, on something that will best meet your needs and help you improve on the skills for whatever course you're working on. And lastly, time. We could get into quite an existential definition of this, but just know that time can be used wisely or it can be wasted. You can't get it back once it's gone. So budgeting your time well and using your time wisely is just something that you're going to have to work on. And if you can do that, then PLT in class will be very productive for you. So PLT, this time is for taking assessments if you need, working through playlist items that your teachers have curated for you. It's also for completing projects. And above all, it's for asking questions. As a teacher, my favorite part of PLT is working with students either on papers or preparation for a project or in figuring something out. That is what PLT is for. It's much more enjoyable if you ask questions than if I'm just clicking an assessment button for students for 35 or 40 minutes. PLT is not it's not simply for finishing homework for your next class. Homework time is homework time, and PLT is in-class time. So you shouldn't be working on some homework. That stuff should be what you have already done to prepare for your PLT. You shouldn't simply be studying for quizzes. That is something that you can do in PLT for that class, but for other classes, well, you're just wasting your time, your personal learning time for whatever class you are in. Even though it might be paying off somewhere else, you're losing that time. Certainly, this is not time to goof off on the internet. It's not an off day where you can relax. PLT is time budgeted for you to improve, for you to get some of those things done, like taking assessments or improving on your skills or asking questions. So that is what we really want it to be used for. Studying is something that can be done during PLT, but it should not be the goal. Studying should be done at home for homework most of the time. So how do we make the most of our time here at RTHS? Well, for homework or PLT, certainly this is something that you need to think about. Are you making the most of your time? For homework, you certainly would need to stay organized. We highly recommend that you use an agenda or some form of an agenda where you write down your homework each and every day. You should be making a plan for completing homework. You can do that at the beginning of seminar. What needs to be done at seminar? What needs to be done at home? What do you need the internet for? What do you not need the internet for? And I cannot stress this enough. Find a quiet space to work and study. Throw on some smooth jazz if you need, but it needs to be a quiet space, whether it's in seminar, as we try to keep it quiet, or if it's at home. You need to have that. And you should block out time each day. Don't think that I'm just going to go home and eventually I'll get my homework done. You know, from 5 to 6 or from 5 to 7, you're working on homework. And after 7, you can play whatever it is you play on your Xbox. For PLT, you certainly want to do many of the same things. You want to be very intentional about your time and plan out what you need to do. Know what assessments you're going to take well before you go into PLT. Know that if you have World Civilization PLT on Friday, that I'm going to take 1 or 2 assessments and know exactly what they are, so you can be studied, so you can study for and prepare for them. Or if you know that you have one part of a project that you need to do for math, that you're going to use that time to work and complete that part of the project. And if you need to, that you're going to ask questions of the teacher. If you can do this and make the most of that time and plan out how you're going to use it, you're going to be very successful at RTHS.